Polio appeared in industrialized nations. It came seemingly out of nowhere and exploded in clusters. Those affected would experience muscular weakness, leaving some paralyzed and killing a few. Industrial history, i.e., use of poisonous chemicals, had demonstrated that neurological and paralytic illnesses tended to act just this way. But academic scientists had no interest in toxins. The growing concern in medicine was to nail down tiny particles. Pollution was not on the agenda. Instead, the focus went on something invisible, something never seen but suspected to be there. These invisibles would be blamed for all illness, and vaccines would be invented to stop them. So, what was the real invention? Ask the question, who funds university research? Chemical, oil, and pharmaceutical companies. And you can't sue a virus. You can, however, sue industry, and industry doesn't want to be blamed for causing most of the ailments of the modern age. And they have a ready-made scapegoat, a virus, which they pay to discover and to develop vaccines for, and you pay to be protected. Back to polio. Some doctors were arguing that pesticides were responsible for the outbreak because it was appearing in children eating chemicals sprayed on orchard fruit and playing downstream from sprayed cotton fields and mills. Poliomyelitis has had many different names: paralysis, palsies, and apoplexy. It's a problem of chemical exposure. Throughout history, workers exposed to fumes of metals and chemicals developed paralysis, sometimes passing, sometimes fatal. The chemicals to blame: mercury, phosphorus, lead, and arsenic. It was recorded over and over again: arsenic, carbon monoxide, lead, mercury, cyanide. Chemicals used in industry and agriculture caused palsies, paralysis, and death. The chemical industries rolled out a new wonder chemical to stop polio: DDT, dichloro-diphenyl trichloroethane. It got a big commercial push and was endorsed by the U.S. government. People were encouraged to use it liberally on everything, everywhere. And polio rates skyrocketed. Children were dropping, and a cry went out for relief from the summer plague. So the race to make a vaccine began. The vaccine, containing material drained out of monkey kidneys and chemicals including formaldehyde, was released to the general public in 1955. Thousands of kids were injected and the polio rate exploded. That's when the medical authorities stepped in, the CDC, NIH, and the WHO, and decided to change the definition of polio. Up until then, polio was the name given to any illness within range of a neurological perturbance: muscle weakness, a summer flu with tingling in the arms, a weakened limb, and rarely a flaccid or paralyzed limb. If you had it for a day, you had polio. After 1956, however, polio was only one illness: severe paralysis. And the majority of what had been polio just went away. Only paralysis would count in the post-vaccine period, and only if you had it for 2 months, from 24 hours to 60 days. So, polio rates plummeted, and the vaccine was publicized as a success. And if you got sick within 15 days of being incepted, you already had polio, and it wasn't the vaccine's fault. They controlled the interpretation of the data, so they wrote the history to reflect their successes. It's that simple. And now you know. They changed the definition. Vaccines didn't cure polio.